The following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers, this is the TFangy coming to you with what will hopefully be a successful review, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the Transformers action figures that I was excited to see, well, surprised to see, and was excited to add to my Transformers collection last year in 2025. I didn't realize until right now when I started recording this is my first review of 2026. Nothing special, it's just a figure that I wanted to review earlier this week, but because I got distracted between work and helping my family, lately reviews are kind of put on the back burner for me. So I try to get around to reviewing them whenever I can. So to start off the year 2026, we're going to be taking a look at a Transformers character whose name is not what you'd expect this action figure to have if you've been a longtime fan of the Transformers and you're aware of who the Transformers character of Hot Rod is. Because as the title of the video has already revealed, today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class here in the United States. This is a Walmart exclusive figure. It is Transformers Age of the Primes Cybertron Series Autobot Excellion. So this guy is a straight up repaint of the Transformers Legacy Cybertron Hotshot figure, and just like the original Cybertron Deluxe Class Hotshot action figure, the Legacy figure has been repainted into Excellion by Hasbro. So, long story short, during the final waves of the Transformers Cybertron line back in 2006, in addition to releasing a brand new action figure of Hot Rod in the recently released Transformers Classics line, which he was released under the name Hot Rodimus because Hasbro couldn't get registered trademarks to the name Hot Rod, nor could they get a registered trademark to the name Rodimus Prime. So when they decided to include Rodimus as a character for the Transformers Energon cartoon series 2 years earlier in 2004, the word Prime couldn't be added to it, so he was known simply as Rodimus. And when they wanted to do a brand new action figure of Hot Rod in the Transformers Classics line, he was given the name Hot Rodimus because Hasbro could at least get a registered trademark on the one-word name of Rodimus, but not the two-word name of Rodimus Prime, nor could they get a registered trademark on the two-word name Hot Rod. So, for the Transformers Cybertron line, in the Transformers Cybertron line, as tribute to the fact that when Hotshot was originally portrayed in the Transformers Armada series in 2002, and throughout all three Transformers series of the Unicron trilogy, Hotshot was designed to be, he was created, and I said this in my review of the Legacy Armada Hotshot figure, he was designed to be a mashup of both Generation 1 Bumblebee and Generation 1 Hot Rod. And that personality trait he matured more in Transformers Energon, but then Transformers Cybertron, which wasn't originally supposed to be a sequel series to Armada and Energon, Hasbro turned it into one when Takara Tomy originally designed it to be a separate series. Hotshot went back to acting like he did in Armada. So to pay tribute to the fact that Hotshot was the closest that Hasbro could get to releasing an action figure of Generation 1 Hot Rod, they decided to take the Cybertron Hotshot action figure and repainted it into Generation 1 Hot Rod's color scheme, but they figured since they already were releasing an action figure of Generation 1 Hot Rod in the Transformers Classics line, they decided to give the Cybertron Hotshot repaint that was based on Generation 1 Hot Rod an entirely brand new name. And recognizing that for the Cybertron cartoon show, Hotshot had been the main focal character during the first segment of the Transformers Cybertron series when the Autobots were on the Velocitron Speed Planet, they decided to give the Hot Rod repaint of Cybertron Hotshot the name Excellion. And so the bottom line is that Excellion is a Hot Rod lookalike, but he is not Hot Rod. So that's where a lot of the confusion would be can rise up with Excellion, especially for Transformers fans and collectors who are aware of who Hot Rod is, as I said already. One thing to note about here is that Excellion, he's technically not the first Transformers character to be a lookalike to Hot Rod and Rodimus Prime. That honor belongs to the character from the Transformers Generation 1 comic books published by Marvel of Autobot Flame, the mad scientist who actually got a figure 1.5 years ago in, I believe, I believe it was 2024 when Autobot Flame was released in a 2-pack exclusive to Hasbro Pulse, also with the Transformers character of Emirate Zeron. They were 2 characters that were released in the short run Transformers Comic Edition subline of Transformers action figures. I have that 2-pack of Autobot Flame and Emirate Zeron. I still have to review it, but hopefully I'll get around to reviewing it soon. But yeah, there are multiple Transformers characters out there that are lookalikes to Hot Rod, but that is just who Excellion is from the Transformers Cybertron series. Now, just like Hotshot from Cybertron and Hot Rod from Generation 1, Excellion is first and foremost an Autobot, which it shows here on the showing the number of steps that it takes to transform him between his robot mode and his alt mode. He transforms in 17 steps. He is an Autobot as it's recognized here on the front of the box, but oddly enough, for whatever reason, Hasbro, everywhere else on the box, Excellion is incorrectly shown to be a Decepticon. That's why I had my finger covering the faction symbol a moment ago. He is not a Decepticon. That is incorrect. Same thing up here on the top of the box. He is not a Decepticon. Excellion is a heroic Autobot, just like Hotshot and Hot Rod are. So why they misprinted his box everywhere else except the display above the transformation steps on the front of the box, I honestly have no idea. But yeah, make no mistakes, Excellion is not a Decepticon. He is an Autobot. And for those of you who want to know what Excellion's original Transformers Cybertron action figure looked like, as I said, just like the Legacy/Age of the Primes figures here, his original 2006 Transformers Cybertron action figure was a straight-up repaint of Cybertron Hotshot. On the original Cybertron action figures, Hotshot and Excellion, they had a tiny Autobot logo on the front of the hood of their vehicle modes, and just like most action figures that were released in the 3 Unicron Trilogy lines of Armada, Energon, and Cybertron, the Deluxe Class Cybertron Hotshot mold, it had a permanently sculpted Autobot logo on the hood of the vehicle mode. So, Excellion is not only a Hot Rod lookalike, he's not an evil doppelganger of Hot Rod, because he's also an Autobot. But yeah, that's led to some confusion amongst Transformers fans and collectors who aren't familiar with Excellion, and the fact that Cybertron Excellion, to put it bluntly, was the closest we got to Generation 1 Hot Rod being a character in the Transformers Cybertron series, despite the fact that Rodimus, aka Rodimus Prime, had already been introduced in Transformers Energon in the previous series of the Unicron Trilogy. So, if Hasbro had correctly put Autobot logos all over Excellion's box, then there wouldn't be any confusion as to who he is. The one logo that he has on the show, which is on his left side shoulder, just like Hotshot, it's an Autobot logo, which is correct. So yeah, his smile here for the box art of his robot mode, it's not supposed to be an evil smirk, it's a smile of delight at knowing that, just like Hotshot and Generation 1 Blur, Excellion prides himself on living up to his name by excelling at supersonic speed and trying to be the fastest thing on wheels, although for the Velocitron Speed Planet, that honor still belongs to Override. And the only Transformer who was able to drive faster than Override on the racetrack back in the Cybertron cartoon series was Hotshot. But that's kind of the background information on Excellion. If you want more background information, look up his original Transformers Cybertron action figure and find a photo of the back of the box, because back in 2006, during the Transformers Cybertron line, that was still when Hasbro would put here on this area of the box an entire paragraph bio explaining further information on who the individual Transformers characters were at the time. Here's some photos of Excellion on the back of the box of his robot mode and his alt mode. The Cyber Key gimmick, it's still reminiscent from his original action figure from the Cybertron line, but it's more ornamental now, with the gimmick being removed entirely in favor of favor of more articulated joints in robot mode. Unlike Hotshot, I said in my review of his Legacy United figure, I missed out on the original Cybertron Deluxe Class Hotshot figure when it was released back in 2005, during the first wave of Transformers Cybertron but I did manage to get a hold of the original Cybertron Excellion action figure when he came out, since I missed out on Hotshot, and I figured the Excellion repaint was my last chance to own the original version of this mold, and sure enough it was. After I bought Excellion I believe it was my local Kmart store where I got Excellion back in 2006, I never saw Cybertron Hotshot again at my local Kmart store or any of the Target, Walmart, or Toys R Us stores that I visited back in 2006. But my original Transformers Cybertron copy of Excellion, the reason I'm not bringing it out to do a size comparison with the new Legacy figure is because I accidentally broke one of the doors on my original copy of Cybertron Excellion using Hotshot. Here is the example. So on the new Legacy/Age of the Prime version of the mold, the vehicle mode doors on Hotshot, they're just egged on by 5mm ports. But on the original Transformers Cybertron action figure, instead of a 5mm port or even a screw, the doors for Hotshot's vehicle mode, they were held in place by two, and look it up on images if you can find them. I'm not making this up. The doors on the original Cybertron Hotshot action figure, they were held by two teeny tiny, I believe it's I can't remember if it was 2mm or 3mm pegs that were made from the same clear plastic used on the windows for Hotshot's vehicle mode of a sports car. So on the original Cybertron Hotshot action figure, the entire side door assembly here on his arm was actually made out of clear plastic, and it was held in place by two tiny rectangular 2mm pegs that were permanently attached to it. And one day when I transformed my copy of Cybertron Excellion, just like his Age of the Primes figure, his windows were made out of clear blue plastic, which was again a reference to Generation 1 Hot Rod having his windows on his Generation 1 action figure being made out of clear blue plastic. Those two little pegs snapped off, and I tried to super glue Excellion's car door back onto his arm, but the super glue didn't really help since the pegs were so small. So the best I could do to keep the door attached was to just wrap a rubber band around it and bandage my original copy of Cybertron Excellion, and it's that way to this day. I've never been able to find copies of the original Cybertron Hotshot or Cybertron Excellion at decent price tags, which is why I still have my arm bandaged copy of Excellion in my Transformers collection. The original Cybertron Hotshot mold was used 3 times. After Excellion in the original Cybertron line, it was used one last time in the Transformers 2007 first movie line of action figures. Cybertron Hotshot was repainted into Generation 1 Getaway, who was given the new copyrighted name of Breakaway, and it was released exclusively at Walmart stores, just like ironically, Age of the Primes Excellion has been a Walmart exclusive. Whether or not this mold will be used a third time to make the G1 Getaway/Breakaway figure like Hasbro did it back in 2008 is uncertain, at this point. But if we were to get a new action figure of Generation 1 Getaway/Breakaway that was a repaint of Cybertron Hotshot, I would definitely buy it in a heartbeat for nostalgia for the original Walmart exclusive action figure that was repainted from the original Cybertron Hotshot figure. So, putting it bluntly, comparing Hotshot to Excellion, even though he's still inside the box, the parts on Hotshot that are made out of metallic blue are now red on Excellion, and the parts on Hotshot that are clear yellow plastic, they're clear blue plastic on Excellion. It's the same thing with the laser gun. And just like Hotshot, the original figure, where you had the spring-loaded missile that would fire out here, and on Hotshot's laser gun, they painted what was originally the firing pin in that would shoot the missile out of Hotshot's laser gun on his original Cybertron figure. It was unpainted blue on the original Cybertron Excellion repainted figure. Here it's not even painted. It's just entirely clear blue plastic. Same thing with the Cyber Key. One thing that someone pointed out that I didn't notice until I saw the video on it, Excellion does come with a Velocitron Speed Planet Cyber Key, just like Legacy Hotshot does, and unlike Hotshot, whose Cyber Key is unpainted and it's just clear blue plastic, Hasbro did paint the logo at the center of the key and the outline of the key with silver paint, just like they did on the original Transformers Cybertron Cyber Keys. But even though it's the Velocitron Speed Planet key, to match up the clear blue plastic used for the windows and the laser gun that Excellion comes with, his Velocitron Speed Planet key is done in clear blue plastic, which was the color of the Planet Earth Cyber Keys from the Cybertron series. But considering that roughly 3/4 of the action figures that were released in the Transformers Cybertron line to use the molds again, and to save money on designing brand new action figures for both the Transformers first live action movie in 2007, and then the Transformers Universe Classics line in 2008. Hasbro decided to just retake the molds that were used from the Cybertron line, since they were the most recent ones, and just repainted them and re-released them in both the 2007 first movie line of action figures from late 2007 to the spring of 2008, and then again in the Universe Classics line from the fall of 2008 to the spring of 2009. And so, having a blue Velocitron Speed Planet Cyber Key included here with Excellion, it's in addition to Excellion's own paint job being a nod to Generation 1 Hot Rod, the Cyber Key, the Velocitron Cyber Key being blue, is a shout out to how from 2007 to 2008 for the live action movies and the Universe Classics lines of Transformers action figures, the figures from the Cybertron series were used again, and to expand the number of action figures in those lines without Hasbro having to waste money designing entirely brand new molds to expand those lines. And so for people who got into the Transformers Cybertron cartoon series right after the Cybertron franchise was winding down and gave way to the first live-action movie in 2007, the repaints of the Cybertron action figures that were released in the first 2007 movie line, and then again in the Transformers Universe Classics line, it was a final chance to get any molds from the Transformers Cybertron online of action figures and add them to your Transformers collection, which I was happy to do with quite a few of those repaints released in those lines of Transformers action figures, because the Transformers Cybertron was my favorite line of action figures from the Unicron trilogy, and to get repaints of those molds done as characters I didn't have in my collection, and to get those molds one last time in paint jobs that the characters didn't have in the Cybertron cartoon series, Hasbro sold me on those repaints. And so those are the hidden references and tributes that Age of the Primes Excellion has. So if you know the history and the background information that I just spent the first 18 minutes of this review rambling on about, then Excellion becomes a much more interesting Transformers character than he would be if you didn't know any of the information on him. Not knowing any of the information on him, then as I said, Excellion is just if you don't understand the history behind him and the tributes and nods that his paint job pays homage to, then he's just a Cybertron Hotshot and G1 Hot Rod's color scheme, and it'll be up to you to decide if not knowing all the background information on Excellion and what he represents, without that knowledge, he's basically the selling point for him is if you want to have Cybertron Hotshot look like Generation 1 Hot Rod, which is what he was designed to be all along in the first place. But the fact that he was released as a Walmart exclusive, for fans of the Transformers Cybertron series, and one thing I did not forget to mention is that up here on the top corner of the back of his box, there's the original Transformers Cybertron logo. that was used back in 2005 and 2006 for the Transformers Cybertron cartoon series and the line of Transformers action figures. So that's what the Transformers logo looked like back in the early to mid 2000s. Thousands where it was silver letters done in a slightly italicized font, compared to now where it's just the word Transformers. The logo is now just straight red letters on a black background. And so, without further delay, and I know you guys are excited to just see Excellion, so let's get him out of the box and take a close look at him in his robot mode. Alright, and so before we actually get to the Excellion action figure himself, just like on the instruction sheet here, we got the new Transformers logo for the Age of the Primes line. That's from 2025 compared to the Transformers Cybertron logo from 20 years earlier in 2005. And so, yeah, it just amazes me how much of a difference the logos, the official Transformers logo was for Transformers Cybertron 20 years ago in 2005. Well, now it's 2026 when I'm recording this video, but that's a 20-year difference of the Transformers logo from Cybertron in 2005 to Age of the Primes in 2025. So yeah, it amazes me how much the Transformers logo has changed over the years. So I just wanted to share that with Excellion's instruction sheet. Alright, and so here he is, Transformers Age of the Primes Cybertron Excellion, out of his box and transformed into his robot mode. And one thing to note, he is slightly mistransformed when you take him out of the box for the first time. His feet were not flipped out, they were still transformed inside. I had his legs, which is the position they're in for his alt mode. Oh, why in the world they were kept in, I honestly don't know, since he was flatter than the box, so he would have been able to fit with his feet deployed properly. But just note that when you take Excellion out of the box for the first time, he's not transformed properly. His feet are still flipped inside his ankles. But yeah, here he is out of the box. And one thing I did find is I found a photo of the back of the box of his original Transformers Cybertron action figure that was released back in 2006. And to read it right now, I have an image of it over here, which is why my face is turned away. His bio from his original 2006 Transformers Cybertron action figure reads, Excellion is an outsider among the Autobots because of his brooding attitude. Excellion is one of the very few Autobot warriors who the Decepticons think of with any respect, but that respect is earned. Excellion has made an art of speed and stealth, moving back and forth across enemy lines as if he were invisible. More than once he has retrieved vital information from within a Decepticon stronghold, or quickly and quietly disposed of a particularly annoying enemy agent. So yeah, that's the bio of the Excellion's original 2006 Transformers Cybertron action figure had on the back of the box. So he's stealthy like Mirage, he's as fast as Blur, he has Generation 1 Hot Rod's paint job, and he has the same body design as Cybertron Hotshot. So he's multiple Autobots rolled up into one, and because of his going off his bio from his original Cybertron action figure, because he's able to move across enemy lines, one could argue that Excellion is a member of the Wreckers going on more stealthy missions. So yeah, one could argue that he's the stealth spy for the Wreckers team, and so that just makes him an even more amazing Transformers character. And I believe reading that bio on the back of his box when I found his original Cybertron action figure back in 2006, that's what sold me on Excellion, the idea that he's willing to use his speed to go infiltrate the Decepticons from within and destroy them, or them behind the front lines of the war zone. That's what sold me on Excellion back in 2006, and again for the Age of the Primes line last year in 2005. One thing else on the back of the box that I wish Hasbro would bring back is that there were tech specs for Transformers characters on the back of the boxes. They've brought them back on occasion on some more recent Transformers lines, but I haven't seen them in quite some time now. But the tech specs for Cybertron Excellion, again from his original Cybertron action figure, he has a strength of 6, an intelligence of 7, a speed of 8.5, an endurance of 8, a rank of 6.5, a courage of 9, a fire blast of 7, and a skill of 9. So those are his tech specs. Sorry for that. We're having a bunch of storms right now out where I live in Southern California, and so I just had to check with my family. There's a freeway closure right now, so there's just a personal announcement of how bad the weather is where I live when I'm recording this video. But bringing focus back to Excellion, so his tech specs, I read them incorrectly. He has a strength of 6, an intelligence of 7, a speed of 8.5, an endurance of 8, a rank of 6.5, a courage of 9, a fire blast of 7, and a skill of 9. So that's on a 1 to 10 scale. So going from the bottom tech specs to the top ones, with a strength of 6, Excellion has an above average amount of strength. With a rank of 6.5, he has a slightly above average rank amongst the Autobots. An intelligence of 7 and a fire blast of 7. He is very smart and very ardent, has a fairly decent amount of firepower. His endurance is 8, so he has a lot of stamina. He has a speed of 8.5, so even though speed is everything, he's one of the fastest Autobots, but not the very fastest. That title is still a tie between Override and Blur. But I kind of am surprised that they didn't give him a speed of 10 or even a speed of 9. Why they went with 8.5, I honestly don't know. Oh, and then his topmost tech specs are his courage and his skill. They're both a 9, so he is extremely skillful in combat and fighting, and he is extremely courageous, so he has a lot of bravery to him. He is by no means a coward. So yeah, that is who Cybertron Excellion is, and I really wish that... One thing I wish that Hasbro would bring back are the tech specs and BIOS for individual Transformers characters. I know they had higher budgets back in the 2000s, and they were able to do it because there was a lot more money pouring into their company back then. But that's just one thing I really wish that they would do, even if it was on the official website, Hasbro.com/Transformers, where you could look at bios and tech specs for the Transformers characters. But yeah, that's just one thing I miss from the collecting Transformers back in the 2000s. So yeah, here's Excellion, and again, as I said, his paint job is Generation 1 Hot Rod. This is the closest, Excellion is the closest we got to having Generation 1 Hot Rod as part of the Unicron trilogy. This is just a very minor nitpick from my part, but on Excellion's original Transformers Cybertron action figure, the wings on his backpack were originally clear blue plastic, just like his windshield and his laser gun. And so I kind of wish they would have done them in blue plastic. I said this in my review of Legacy Hotshot, so for a size comparison, here's Excellion to the figure he's reprinted from Hotshot from the Legacy line, and yeah, as I said, Excellion is a straight up repaint of Hotshot. They even have the exact same head sculpt, and that's how their original Cybertron action figures were. No sculpted detailing or any sculpted differences at all. But yeah, Excellion's the wings on his backpack were originally clear blue plastic, and so I kind of wish they would have done them in blue plastic just to homage his original Transformers Cybertron action figure. They went with yellowish orange to match his thighs and his forearm and his elbows in robot mode, just to further cement the reality that he was, by all accounts, supposed to be Hot Rod without being called Hot Rod when his original Cybertron figure was released at retail. But Hotshot, the wings on his original Cybertron action figure, they were made out of clear yellow plastic, just like his windows and laser gun. So the backpack wings actually color matched the parts on both of these figures that are made out of clear plastic. And so if you wanted to, even though they're yellowish orange instead of pure yellow, if you wanted to swap the backpack wings from between Excellion and Hotshot, then the yellowish wings on Hotshot that are given to Excellion, that would actually make him look even more accurate to his original Transformers Cybertron action figure. Instead of color matching the backpack wings with the windows of the vehicle mode, they just matched them with the thighs and upper legs and the elbow joints of the robot modes for these figures. figures. But yeah, if you wanted to give Hotshot Excellion's backpack wings and then the red wings on Hotshot, spray paint them blue and attach them to Excellion, then you'd have even more accurate versions, paint jobs of them from their original Cybertron action figures. One nice thing that I'm glad that Hasbro and Takara, the designers, did for Excellion is that they painted his hubcaps of his wheels bright silver over. Both the original Cybertron Hotshot and Cybertron Excellion action figures had painted hubcaps on them. And if you do, and your eyes are not deceiving you, it's kind of hard to see, but putting them together, if you can kind of see right in there between their arms, Hotshot's tires are made out of solid black plastic, while Excellion's tires are made out of gunmetal gray. So the tires and the wheels are made out of different colored plastic. But when Legacy Hotshot was revealed and shown off, I was secretly hoping that they would have painted his wheels silver like his original Cybertron action figure, because I prefer when the wheels are painted on them and you have actual hubcaps and tires on the wheels instead of just unpainted plastic wheels on them. But at least they were able to do that here with Excellion. So for those of you wondering what Legacy Hotshot would look like with painted wheels, then Excellion's the closest that we're going to get from Hasbro to actually seeing that. So apart from a few paint changes, such as the paint apps here on Hotshot, these arrow type paint jobs on his backpack, they're much larger on Excellion compared to Hotshot, as you can see right there. The port where the cyber key fits into on Hotshot's painted gunmetal gray, and on Excellion it's just dark gray. And it matches the color of the intake vents for their alt modes. Hotshots are done in metallic gunmetal gray, while Excellion it's just dark gray. And there's a close-up of the cyber keys there. Hotshots is an unpainted red Velocitron Speed Planet cyber key, and then Excellion, this is what the cyber keys from the original Cybertron line look like. The symbol in the center of the cyber key, well, they're actually done in chrome paint, but the outline was painted silver like it is here on Excellion. So I kind of wish they would have painted the highlights on Hotshot's cyber key like the original keys from the Cybertron subline were. But Excellion, to color code to have the cyber key match the clear plastic used on his windows, it's done in blue, which is the color of the Earth planet cyber keys. So, as I said, that's an homage to 3/4 of the action figures from the Cybertron line being re-released in the live-action movies, when the cyber keys were made out of an entire plethora of different colors, just to match specific characters that they were being released with. But yeah, pretty nice there. And as I said, Excellion is a heroic Autobot, just like Hotshot, and also G1 Hot Rod. So there's the Autobot logo on the shoulder, just like Hotshot. On the original Cybertron figures, the Autobot logos were much larger, and they were permanently sculpted as part of the shoulder for the mold. So that's why Excellion, for those of you wondering if he's supposed to be an Autobot or a Decepticon, he is in fact an Autobot. And he has no affiliation with the Decepticons other than the fact that he likes to sneak into their bases and destroy them. So yeah, as I said, going off the bio from his original 2006 action figure, Excellion has the potential to be one of a member of the Wreckers, and Excellion has largely been ignored, or due to the fact that he is, by all accounts, Generation 1 Hot Rod without actually being named Hot Rod. But I kind of wish he would have been a character that would have stuck around, because in more recent years, with Hasbro following Takara trend of having the Autobot and Maximo Commander characters such as Beast War or Second Lio Convoy and God Jinrai and God Jinrai, just to name some of them, there are now look-alike Autobot and Maximo Transformers characters that are lookalikes of G1 Optimus Prime, and so I kind of wished Excellion would have become a more prominent and more well-known Transformers character, just so fans could have a lookalike of Hot Rod running around. But I guess Hasbro figured they were fine with allowing more than one Optimus Prime I'm to join the Transformers, but having more than one hot rod was one too many hot rods. Bad joke, but yeah, that's just my minor gripe with the fact that Excellion remains one of the least popular and lesser known Transformers characters out there, and thinking about it to myself right now, I think that's probably one reason why Hasbro decided to have him be a Walmart exclusive rather than a mass retail figure, despite the fact that there are Transformers action figures that have been released that are straight up repaints of previously released Transformers characters at mass retail. But I guess I can kind of forgive Hasbro for having Excellion be a Walmart exclusive due to the fact that he's not an original mold and he is just a straight up repaint of Legacy Hotshot. But yeah, there he is one last time. I am with Hotshot, so let's get Excellion transformed into his alt mode and wrap up the review. Alright, and so here is Transformers Age of the Primes, Cybertron Excellion transformed into his alt mode of a mostly red sports car, and here's one of the reasons why this guy, when he was created back for the Cybertron line, he was by all accounts Hot Rod without actually being named Hot Rod, because he's got the yellow flame paint job here just like Generation 1 Hot Rod does, and as you can see he's got more of the gold paint here. Here the design here on the back of him. Here he is with all his accessory pieces attached of the laser gun and the cyber key gimmick, and on his original Cybertron action figure, when you inserted the cyber key, it would automatically pop out about the wings, and the idea was having these wings would actually cause him to go even faster. That's how it was for Hotshot in the Cybertron cartoon series. But yeah, for those of you ever wondering what would Hotshot from any of the Unicron Trilogy series look like if he had Generation 1 Hot Rod's paint job, Cybertron Excellion is the character that makes that question a reality. And yeah, there he is. He rolls fairly well, although with the low level of clearance, he's not going to be able to go off-roading, just like in the Transformers Cybertron cartoon. With Hotshot, this mold is designed for driving on flat roads and flat surfaces. So, to go all-terrain, Excellion will have to transform into his robot mode and run on his feet. But yeah, overall, I'm really impressed with how he came out. And his original Cybertron action figure did have almost the exact same shade of clear blue plastic for the windows, just like his Age of the Primes figure does. But yeah, there it is. As you can see, his robot mode head is visible there underneath the windshield, and that's one of the reasons why I personally, even though the instruction sheet tells you that you don't have to do it, I normally like to transform this mold by rotating the head around. So because not being able to see his face, it helps him to be slightly more of a robot in disguise. The head does transform more properly if you have it facing upward, but like I said, rotating it around, it helps the figure to be more of a robot in disguise if you can't see his face inside the alt mode. On the original Cybertron action figure, the extra step of the head being able to rotate into the robot mode torso, it was a part of the transformation the original Cybertron figure didn't have. And so, on the original Cybertron action figure, the head was actually right here, permanently sticking out of the top of the torso, and so you had to rotate Hotshot and Excellion's heads around in order to not see his face and have him be as much of a robot in disguise as he could possibly get with this science fictional looking sports car for an alt mode. But yeah, there's Excellion once more. And for a size comparison one last time, here he is next to Legacy United, Cybertron Hotshot, and so as you can see here, they are pretty great Transformers action figures. As I said in my review of him, Cybertron Hotshot was one of my favorite deluxe figures of the Cybertron line. Even though I missed out on his original figure, I got the Excellion repaint. And in the Cybertron line, Hotshot is one of the tallest, if not the very tallest, deluxe class figure that was released originally in the Transformers Cybertron line. And that holds up when you compare Cybertron Hotshot to most of the other action figures from the Legacy Trilogy that were released in Deluxe Class size. He is one of the taller Deluxe Class figures, and I'm thrilled that the designers at Hasbro and Takara Tomy decided to make Hotshot and now Excellion one of the larger sized Deluxe Class figures as an homage to the original figures being one of the tallest Deluxes of the Cybertron line. But yeah, there is Excellion with one last size comparison with Cybertron Hotshot. So, for the proverbial question to wrap up the video review, do I recommend getting the Transformers Age of the Primes Cybertron Deluxe Class Excellion and adding him to your Transformers collection? Absolutely, I do. I cannot stress enough how much I recommend adding Excellion to your Transformers collection. Even if you have Cybertron Hotshot, Excellion is worth the time and money adding to your Transformers collection as well. And I love how he homages not only his original Cybertron action figure, but other legacies of the Transformers Cybertron line, which is why I wish he would have been released in the Legacy line, so that joke I just made would have been even funnier. But yeah, and here, just like his wave mate of Age of the Prime Cybertron Sideways, even though Sideways is an original mold, and even more so than Excellion, I wish Sideways would have been a mass retail figure. I think Excellion would have sold well if he'd been a mass retail figure instead of a Walmart exclusive here in the United States. But yeah, for those of you wanting Cybertron Hotshot and G1 Hot Rod's paint job, then Excellion, for that feature alone, he is a pretty fantastic Transformers action figure. And for those of you who want to repurpose Excellion into Hot Rod, you can very easily do that. You can slap the name Hot Rod onto this action figure and have Generation 1 Hot Rod with Cybertron Hotshot's body design, and if you are so inclined. But yeah, I cannot stress enough how much of a must-have action figure Cybertron Excellion is to have in your Transformers collection. So thank you guys all so much for watching. This has been the TF Geek. This is my review of Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Cybertron Series Excellion. I highly recommend you get this figure. Even if you already have Legacy Cybertron Hotshot, you cannot go wrong having two versions of this mold, since Excellion is just as impressive, if not even more impressive, than Cybertron Hotshot is, who is already an outstanding Transformers action figure in his own right. So thank you guys all so much for watching, and until next time, you guys, thank you to all my friends and subscribers for your continued support. This has been the TF Geek, and until next time, you guys, please remember to stay safe, stay healthy, transform and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.